Professor Mohammed Shahnawaz Abdeen. Professor Mohammed Shahnawaz Abdeen has an extensive teaching and administrative and research experience of more than 23 years at the Department of Management, Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. Presently, sir, he is working as a full-time professor at the Department of Management, Jamia Hamdard. Sir is also HOD of the Department of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, SMBS, and Provost of Boys Hostel at Jamia Hamdard. Sir is on the reviewer board of many reputed journals. He has chaired sessions at international conferences of repute. He has trained a number of national and international conferences. He has trained a number of prestige NCGG, erstwhile NIAR, Labasna, Pride, erstwhile BPST, Lok Sabha Secretariat, etc. To name a few, he has won many prestigious and recognitions at the important platform. We are truly privileged to have Sir with us today, and we look forward to an insightful session that will surely broaden our perspective and deepen our understanding related to the topic. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rohit.
Thank you, sir.
And it's a pleasure to be here addressing a variety of participants from across India in this prestigious faculty development program being organized by Don Bosco Institute of Information Technology, DBIT, New Delhi. Heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Azad Usmani and Dr. Rohit Kumar for taking the lead to invite me and coordinate the entire process. So I had been given a very interesting topic. Ideally, it was supposed to be held as session number 1 because that sets the tone for the agenda. But because of some unforeseen circumstances, we had to just flip the sequence, and we are addressing at session number 2 now. Nonetheless, we can always take reference from the discussions of session 1 and try and reverse engineer to this first topic, which is understanding artificial intelligence and its role in education. So, it's always fashionable these days and always very, you would say, in to talk about things of technology, especially deep learning in terms of machine learning and AI. And a lot of people have this notion that it predominantly belongs to the technology sector. And to an extent, they are right, because the technocrats build this technology. They lay the foundation for the development and the implementation part of the software. But it also depends on a lot of the end users, how to use it in our day-to-day life. And now we are seeing an increased role of AI in education. And it's not new. I would just take things a little back before we begin the formal discussion. That this entire concept of AI looks to be a bit magical and looks to be mysterious to the current generation. That how did it come? How did it evolve? What was the reason for its development? How did it progress across time? But if I give a very fundamental example, take the example of a calculator. So all of us have used that calculator. And it's very puzzling to a kid that how does that small machine perform so many different functions, and that too in such a short period of time. To enter any value as an input, it gives you an instant output. So you can explain that to a small kid that there is nothing big in it. The person who made that calculator already has made the base of the digits at the background. So if you look at the screen properly with a lot of concentration, you will find a full 8 written. And that background as 8 has capacity to become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or a 0, whichever way you perceive it to be. So only that part of the background will glow with red light, which is to be highlighted as the number. So it is something very inherent to that calculator. The base has been laid, and then the person who made that calculator fed in with all possible outcomes for all possible combinations of numbers in all possible mathematical functions. So initially, we have to build it, we have to develop it.
Sir, a moment, please. Sorry to disturb you. There's only the title page of your presentation is
Yeah,
showing.
yeah, I have not moved it. I
Okay,
have not
okay,
moved
okay.
it. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you. Please start.
So no, we have made that calculator. We made a base to it, and then we put in with all kinds of possible inputs and output combinations, to which it gives instant results. And we think it's like magic wand that we just wave around and we get the magical number. But with time, that calculator becomes a self-learning machine. And somehow on its own, we saw the advent of the scientific calculator, which was more complex in functions, which could perform logarithmic functions, trigonometric functions, to name a few. And then the calculator becomes a self-learning and an evolving machine. Something similar to that has happened with the kind of AI we are talking about. We initially built it for helping us in assisting us in our routine matters. But then because of complex algorithms, the machine started to learn. And I'm very much, always fascinated by this 2005 movie featuring Will Smith. And it was, I think, 2005 or 7, that famous classical movie which we call as I, Robot. And it shows how robots learn. And out of those millions of robots, one went rogue, one went bad, and it created all hell on earth. So this AI, though we made it, started to develop its own intelligence. And we were responsible to give it the intelligence it wanted. We fed that intelligence into that machine. So all these algorithms which we talk about are aiming to make it more and more independent, self-reliant, in a manner that the machine almost becomes a human being, or even more than a human being, greater than a human being. So it has both sides to it, the advantageous sides as well as the limitations and the dangerous facets of that. So let's start this session on this note that we'll take a very balanced approach towards AI and its role in education, because we know education is the founding pillar of any society. So the way we educate our younger ones, our juniors, our subordinates, our colleagues, is the way we shape our society. And today we are seeing all kinds of misuses as well, and people becoming too much dependent on technology, on um, ready-made platforms, which has killed their inclusivity and their creativity. So which means that AI has to be taken with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, will one fine day create a Frankenstein, which might eat us as well? So this is a typical scientific movie scenario in which students are sitting in a classroom full of concepts of science and universe and atoms and molecules and robots and machines. And children look a bit puzzled and bewildered, like this concept makes us. But we don't need to be so much puzzled about it. We'll take things one at a time, and we'll see that how do we use it to our advantage? So just going to the first basic fundamental point is that what is AI, or what is artificial intelligence? And as I said, it's a science of trying to stimulate human behavior through machines, through programs, through systems. And sometimes that could go beyond human intelligence. The machine could outsmart you. So we ideally developed it to, you could say, optimize our routine tasks, something which was mundane, everyday, ordinary affair. But uh, it then went ahead. It started to mobilize our speed, improve our efficiency, and expanded to reach all horizons of our life, including education. So let's understand what actually AI does in modern day learning. So we're trying to talk about a scenario which replaces, or ideally assists, a human being to perform his education related tasks, be it tutoring, be it lecturing, be it studying, which was ideally traditionally done by an individual and his brain. And then we're trying to envisage a whole new universe of reasoning, learning, and problem solving. So we're training the machine in a manner so that it in itself becomes a source to solve our everyday problems. And what significance does it have for education is that it encompasses our uh, skill to teach, our method to teach, and our efficacy to teach. And all these different platforms which we have for education related AI, they're trying to enhance our teaching skills. And they are a two-pronged fork. On one side, they help the tutor, the educator. On the other side, they take care of the learner, the student. And the algorithm which I'm talking about is such uh, a complex phenomenon that once it develops its own sense, its own intelligence, it can understand and manipulate anything. Some people get confused, those who are from non-tech background, that what does an algorithm mean? So I would say it means a set of self-iterating processes, equations which are going on their own. But somebody built the first version of that equation. Somebody built the first step of that process and then made it independent to replicate or to innovate. I would give a very fundamental example that if you talk about the basic arithmetic, which kids learn at school in class 6th and 7th, the algebra. So if I were to ask you that, what is the expansion of the function a plus b whole squared? So you would say it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If I would ask you what is the function of a plus b whole cube, you would answer a cube plus 3a square b plus 3b square a plus b cube. So we had to learn it in school. If we would have been told that there is a general formula of binomial expansion, and that expansion would fit in every factor of 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever we take, the things would have been easier for us. So today the machine has learned to do that. It does not know what is a square or a cube. It knows what is a plus b to the power n. And if you ask it square, it puts n is equal to 2. If you ask it 3, it puts n is equal to 3. So we built that formula in that machine to understand that what would be the most generalized form of any process, equation, or an iteration. And the rest will be done by the machine itself. Now let's come to some of the touch point discussions which will affect us in our everyday life as educators, as students. So why are we doing this? Why are we using it? One answer is that this is quite helpful in terms of using that data to enhance the learning outcome. When we learn through machines, it has a habit of recording data, giving you instant results after analyzing, so that the learning outcomes could be measured, which otherwise could be difficult in a manual scenario. So just imagine after the class, the machine takes a quick feedback of all the students and lets you know how many of them were comfortable with the concepts, how many of them struggled with the concepts. Then it will be easier for us to shape our new class, our next class. So that is why this technology helps us to moderate or to modify our touch points at each level, one being the learner, the student. So the first thing which we are concerned about is this technology helps us analyze the student's performance because it converts feedback into graphs, diagrams, tables. We can have a quick view of what is the impact of our teaching or the impact of the lesson on the student in terms of its efficacy. So all these tools have lots of data to be used. And that data offers a lot of learning insights to the educators. Excuse me. Second is the advantage of modeling the learner, because we are using a lot of inbuilt science in it, and that to computer science. They are more often built on predictive models to measure the learning outcomes. And I would say that it goes like this, that these predictive models use the previous data, the historical data, for a student as a specific case to forecast his ability to learn and what could make him successful. So it can easily identify that somebody is a quick learner, somebody is a slow learner. So everybody in the class need not be given equal time. Each person might be allocated a different resource. And we are especially talking about the learners at risk, people who are more vulnerable in terms of slow learning, lesser intelligence, or with some learning disorder. The third aspect is it makes our life very easy when it comes to assessment of the outcome as a teacher, as an evaluator. So today we have lots of tools as apps or programs which will help us, and most of us would be using some of them, to grade our students, to evaluate our students, and to know that how are they progressing in the class, which otherwise was not so easy. It would have required a lot of manual effort. So these assessment tools are there to help us as evaluators to automatically assess our students' competencies, the skills, progress, and developments in the class. So let's see the background of it. AI tools mostly comply with three basic principles. The first is they learn. So I'm just trying to break the myth that how does a machine do so many things on its own, and how is somebody uh, using such a thing which is looking like magical, or something which is unbelievable. So we develop a machine or a program which can learn, which means we are trying to give them the new experience. We are trying to model them. We are trying to program them with all possible outcomes. And once the machine learns, it goes on a mode of self-correction. So the machine itself started to refine the algorithms to ensure the most accurate results. Just imagine how powerful it is. You taught the machine to think, and now the machine on its own has refined the algorithms to mitigate the risks. And ultimately, it's the reasoning part of the machine which is fantastic. So you pick up the specific algorithms to resolve a specific problem or a task. So the machine now knows that out of a plethora of options, which one suits it the best to solve a particular situation or a task or a problem. So I would give an example to illustrate. You are trying to teach a new kid on a block to become a goalkeeper, how to become a good and a successful goalkeeper. So you first teach him the rules of the game, what football is, how is it played, how many players are there, what is the role of the goalkeeper, where does he stand, how does he defend, all of that. That's the learning part of the machine. And then you ask him to actually stand and defend the goals. So he starts to practice, and then he starts to think that whatever has been taught to me is quite theoretical. We need some refinement in our practice. So he uses his own mind to refine the things which we have taught the kid. And then the kid develops so much of confidence after practice that he then starts to reason. And then he becomes a good goalkeeper or a perfect goalkeeper, that he knows that which side would a person kick or has a higher chance of kicking the football when he looks left or right. So we have trigonometry to measure those angles. But that kid, after enough self-correction, has learned to measure the elevation and the angle and the altitude right at the point of the kick. So this is where the technology has taken us. It's picking up specific moments of the algorithms to resolve specific tasks. Now, for example, in the class, there could be a person who is otherwise intelligent, but has a problem with humanities. Or he is good with social sciences, or has a problem with numbers. Or accounts is not looking nice to him. So no, the machine now has to adapt to its own and start to solve this problem specific to specific student, like a human would have done. Am I making sense to you? Anybody can give me a feedback so that we can continue. Otherwise, I'll stop here and take some questions. Am I audible? Am I comprehensible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, and you are the audience is with me on the discussion, or they want some discussion now?
Yes, sir, the audience is also with you along with the
Okay,
discussions. They are,
thank you. Thank you.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, if you talk about some schematic things that what would be only AI or what would be a human plus AI scenario. So we have these things to explain in a nutshell. There is something called as assisted intelligence, which means somebody will assist you in making a decision and then take an action, which we see every day in administration, management, bureaucracy. But automation is different. It is automation of routine tasks. You have something called as augmented intelligence, which means human decision-making automation, which is really good. The machine starts to learn how to decide like a human. But the best scenario is the autonomous intelligence, supposedly, because it learns how to adapt to different situations, acting without any human assistance or interface. So the machine itself can govern the world, which I don't think everybody would agree to or subscribe to, because that may be a very dangerous scenario. That is where we have aimed for, and that is where we are trying to take everybody to, the idea of autonomous intelligence. That might mean a loss of jobs for a lot of people, loss of you know layoffs for a lot of people, lots of um, machine work being done instead of people. But that's what we have to deal with. Now let's come to some of the current discussions going about AI in education. And first is the harnessing of the AI for enhancing the learning experience. That's important. How does it help the learner? And how's the overall experience uh, affected? So we talk about three things. The first one is we have lots of personalized learning tools. So because the algorithm is smart enough to study students, analyze the students. So it knows each student's strengths and weakness. So it can make specific contents for students, which we call as customized support. Each student might have his own unique need or a requirement to which the AI responds, and the content might be modified. So this is one of the major advantages, the idea of personalized learning. Second is the idea of adaptive learning system. The machine presumes that this is what will fit the students, but when it actually teaches the student does not respond in the predicted manner. So now it has to adapt in real time based on real time data. So these adaptive learning systems are, you could say, they are able to judge the gap of the learner, that where do we want to take him or her and where is he currently now. So there are all those instructional paths based on real-time mechanism, real-time data, which lets the learners, which enables the learners to navigate their journey through a tailored support and mechanism. And the third advantage is that of the AI tutoring solutions, which we find very commonly used. So it's like a personal tutor at home or in a school or a college, available to the student 24/7, facilitating problem solving for him and giving him instant feedback for a healthy learning environment. It's more of a specific master or a teacher to the student, this tutoring solution. And the way they have been evolved and developed, the way they look, the way they feel, looks like a very friendly teacher, very close associate of the student. And the students feel comfortable to discuss all kinds of doubts and issues with this. machine. Now, what is the role in education? Let us again come back. I'll be going back to some of the key points so that we don't digress from the core objective of the session. We are not trying to replace teachers per se. As a teacher, I will never recommend that. Teachers have their own advantage, they have their own charisma in the class. We have the human connect, which is unlikely to be replaced by a machine. But yes, it's a fact that today we have a global adoption of this technology across education and other sectors, which is changing the way we teach and learn. So far that we could say it's one of the disruptors of modern day education system. So everybody is now facing this challenge or opportunity, as you name it: students, teachers, tutors, instructors. We would take the broader objective to use AI as point number 2 on the slide, that AI could be used to improve study process, as simple as that. Anything which improves our study process and mechanism could be taken for help. And it for sure is going to be evolving and a continuous process, adapting with technology, with time, with change in mindset, with change in learner behavior, and with change in social norms and practices. I'm always reminded of a very famous example. I will not name that school. That we have something called as a Amazon storybook on tablet, which is we call as Kindle, right? Most of you must have used it. So if you expose your kid right from day one to a Kindle kind of a thing, he knows how to touch a page or how to scroll a page. He does not know how to turn a page physically. So lots of kids might have problem in reading a real book in their hands because they have never touched or read from a real book. They've always used the tablet for reading a novel or a story. So we find today that lots of tablets or reading solutions are giving the experience of real books. You don't scroll the page, you flip the page over. So one flip from right to left or left to right will turn the page on the screen itself. So as the society changes, the smaller nitty-gritties and the nuances will have to be addressed. First important aspect of AI is that it will personalize education, for sure. It's going to be maximum benefit for the learner. And it knows what does each student need and what will make the outcome better. And for that, we have lots of different kinds of tools. I'll give examples of some tools later on in my presentation towards the end of it. So personalization of education is going to be one important aspect or one important feature, which means no more one formula fits everybody. Different kids need different formulae. Different kids are differently abled. So they need specific solutions. What is coming from behind as the knowledge space theory, which says that, if you create a complex brain on a blank sheet of paper or a space on a blank sheet of paper, so you have to take one student from point A to point B. And there are many ways of taking him from point A to point B. So which route would you take? So the machine knows that route better than you sometimes. But the only limitation is that the machine is guided by the input which you provide. So if the student is taking an automated test and using a cell phone next to him to answer the test, then the results are not genuine. So the machine might misguide him. So a lot of truthfulness, transparency, and trust would be crucial critical to the success of AI in education. So the ultimate focus is to fill that knowledge gap and become a basis for filling that gap. Like this one scheme which I have showed, it's from the theoretical sciences. That student may be knowing nothing at this point, and you have to take him to A. A different route might be taken, or a student who knows something at A, but you have to take him to A plus C or A plus B. And from there, the knowledge will increase A, B, D, E, A, C, D, E, so on and so forth. So this is how teachers plan their lessons. This is what a lesson plan does. But then this A or this null is defined for the average learner in the class, which we all face in the class. We don't take the best student, we don't take the worst student. We take the average student, the middle one. And we prepare this A or null according to him or her. But the machine will prepare this A or null for each student and maybe have a specific lesson or a specific program to take them ahead in the knowledge space dimension. Second important aspect of AI is that they are into producing a smart content. And that is what makes them quite interesting. So we have lessons which are digital, which means tablets, laptops, mobile phones. They can be easily customized, their appearance, their background, their uh, format. They are small in size, but big in effect. So this digital appearance makes it all the more smart. It's easier to adapt. Second is the idea of visualization of information. As small kids, we always had that trouble that what would an atom look like? Or what would a molecule look like when we were in school? What would be, the shape of a parabola in reality? But not anymore. Today's kids know everything. How do cells look? How do molecules look? How do atoms look? They can actually visualize and see that. We had that famous problem in physics that when two objects are moving together, chart the path of the movement of the center of gravity. And we always used to look in the air and used to visualize without any help that this is how it would move. Now the kids can look at on the screen. It's easily visible. And they can relate more to it. Or the example of the movement of a pulley in the classical physics problem, the friction generated. So they can see the friction generated, that what actually is friction and how does it affect the movement of the pulley. So today, this visualization has transformed the way students are learning. It makes it more believable, it makes it more real, it makes it more comprehensible. And what we normally see is normally what we believe. So all the more merit in this statement. Third aspect is it's a smart because it updates itself. So the content which we teach updates much faster than what we do in our own lives. The learning content is getting updated according to developments in technology, in science, in humanities, and according to new curricula as well. So today we have NEP in implementation now. So just provide the background of the NEP structure. The learning contents will automatically update on their own. The restructuring will be done on its own. So that becomes one more way to become smart. It updates the lessons, the content, and it's used in different ways for different people at different stages of the learning curve. Everybody is not at the same stage. So these three things make it smart: the digital part, the visualization part, and the updation part. Third aspect is contributing to the task automation. Now, a teacher in the class has lots of responsibilities. Teaching is the primary function. But apart from that, we have to grade, we have to assess, we have to do examination duty, tabulation, a lot of other administrative work. So some of them could be relegated to the machine part, depending on your choice, your strengths and weaknesses or merits. It could be grading, it could be assessing, it could be replying to common student queries, which otherwise could be time consuming. So a lot of work becomes easy because of this continuous automation. And what does automation look like? A simple example which we have given is the idea when you type an email on any mailing platform like Gmail, based on your previous habits of typing certain words, it recalls in its memory and it gives an auto suggestion to use the same word or the same sentence. For example, you write hi, and the next sentence is automatically coming on the screen. I hope this email finds you well, because it knows you always write that when you start an email. So it will come as an auto suggestion. You just put the cursor at the end of the sentence, put a full stop, go to the main part of the message. So it knows your habits of typing. So you have the past messages based on which the current message is automated. When we have auto correction for a vocabulary, that is one small use of AI in mailing. So something like that is a great help when we talk about education in a learning management system, where the student puts in a 1 or 2 or a high, and we know what does that student need. What is his past record? What is his limitation? How do we teach the student? And in the meanwhile, the AI could be entrusted with certain routine tasks to help you get more time for more meaningful and innovative activities, like planning for a new course next year, or writing a very exploratory research paper kind of a thing, which would take some more time. So you relegate or delegate the tasks which are routine in nature to the AI platforms. We talked about a tutor mechanism. This is what some of the screens would look like. That we see a school boy here with his nice, decent hair. So he asks, hi, could I ask you for the feedback on my last test? And then the machine would reply, hi, Dan, sure, check your grades here. So this becomes a kind of a friend whom he can talk to on a daily basis, as a chatbot, you could say. Sorry. The next feature or the next dimension which we want to explore is the idea of personal tutoring. So no, we have found situations where in a class there are different students at different capabilities level, differently skilled, and able to communicate at different levels of comfort. Many of them feel shy, sit at the back. They don't want to come to the front. They don't want to ask questions. They might feel embarrassed. They might feel let down. This is where the machine is quite helpful. It says that you are only talking to me. Nobody else knows what is your problem. So this platform will give him that extra confidence needed to ask that maybe silly for you, but a silly question or a very routine question, which he is not able to understand. We have found trouble explaining mathematics to kids, algebra to kids, geometry to kids. And sometimes because of this fear of asking questions, kids become reluctant. So these AI tutoring platforms are great time savers for teachers, parents, and students. And they really boost the morale of the student, because those who were shy, who were supposedly in the fear of embarrassment. Now they are feeling friends with an AI chatbot or an AI personal virtual assistant. So he doesn't need to go to any friend or a teacher. He has this machine as a friend to solve his queries. One very important feature is the idea of equity, ensuring access of education or to education for students with special needs who normally are not a part of the regular classroom. Because of their disabilities, they may be denied admissions or they may withdraw admissions after a gap of time because they're not able to gel with the rest of the people. So children with special needs who are slow learners, who have communication disabilities, who have numerical jarring in their mind, some who are visually impaired, hard of hearing, or autistic children. For them, it has become a big source of relief and hope. Kids can log into their personal chatbot, to their personal app, and either on their own or with the assistance of somebody around them, they can take these lessons. So I would think that this becomes very, very important, that whatever we develop as education is, it should envisage the idea of inclusion of all kinds of children, including the ones with special needs. That would really solve the problem. If I were to sum the benefits of AI for students, I would come in detail uh, at length later on, but I would say it reduces the children's pressure in the classroom. And less pressure means less stress and more enthusiasm, more confidence, more motivation. Look at uh, ourselves for that matter. We might have had a very poor general knowledge of things around us. And we were always nervous that if anybody asks us a question, we might not be able to answer, because of which we might be let down. But today we don't fear anybody. We have Google with us. We have Bing with us. So we can search anything on our cell phones and we can give the answer as if we knew the answer. So that increases our morale. That increases our enthusiasm. And because of that, more people are willing to discuss today. So the first big advantage to the student category is 24/7 access to learning. So we don't have any fixed classroom. We don't have any physical setup. We don't have a routine or a timetable. We don't have any physical teacher. And no chhari in the hand, right? So it is 24/7, 365 days access to a classroom, the virtual class. Kids will plan their sessions, when they want to attend, where do they want to attend, when not to attend. So it's totally adding to their convenience. And more convenience means more involvement. Second is better engagement. Why? Because it's a smart thing. Lessons are individualized, customized. We have a digital platform. We have beautiful looking screens. We have colorful objects. We have personal chatbots. We have personal recommendations. So every student gets that importance which he deserves, which he needs, which he likes. So he feels more important and he mingles better with the AI tool. So the time the student feels important, special, it automatically builds in hope, confidence, increases engagement, and arouses their interest in their studies. We have seen examples of doctors who are very ruthless to their patients. But we have at the same time doctors who are very caring about their patients, and they are very, very uh, comic. They are very, very soft to deal with, and such kinds of doctors, even when they inject you with something, you do not feel the pain because they have done that while talking to you. That is the advantage I'm talking about here. The end result might be the same, but the manner in which you deliver that lesson to that student is also important. There is one thing to sit in the class for 3 hours and just get bored and sleep or lay back in the class, and another thing to get interested and aroused and engaged. That is what the tool does to you. Less pressure is very important. Because of that engagement, that importance, the kid has a lesser pressure on himself. Lessons are tailored to their specific needs, and they are not comparing to one another now. That comparison is gone. They are no longer in a classroom setting. Earlier, a student would have ideally asked a teacher for help, but now it's requisite to type a query in the chat box, and the virtual assistant will help him with the instant explanation. So this uh, advantage does add to our benefits of use of AI. Personalized learning has been made possible with AI. Now, there are people who like stories, there are people who like pictures, there are people who like graphs. Everybody has a different way to learn. Some people prefer writing on a page, some people prefer reading with the page. So everybody has their own mechanism, their own method to learn, which was otherwise slightly difficult to do, but now no longer anymore. We can do it with the help of these machines. So we have a universal solution to a set of tailor-made problems based on the neat analysis of individual students, of both learners, educators. The idea is to optimize our efficacy. And once you get successful with a limited number of students, you scale the process. You launch it for a larger market. A good example in point is the idea of the famous Byju's learning app, which everybody would have heard of. It was one thing to listen to the sessions on screen, but Byju's also started to send the study material at home through a courier service or a logistic service, so that kids could also have physical material to read. So even they were skeptic to go online totally. So they had a supplement in the form of physical material. But I think later on, it was gradually done away with. And the lesson was only digital. And every kid has his own time that I may have missed a session in the regular class, but online I don't have a chance to miss that session. I can replay it anytime. That's the basic personalization we are talking about in terms of frequency, in terms of content, in terms of structure, in terms of delivery. So some of the benefits of AI in the classroom as a whole, I would say that the ultimate goal would be to enhance the experience through technology. We used to have regular 2D cinemas early on. We have seen Sholay on that. But how good it would look to see it on a 3D format or a IMAX format or a 4DX format. The essence of Sholay, the spirit of Sholay, the flair of Sholay would multiply many times. So the entire educational experience has to be transformed. And for that, we have three kinds of things. First is enhancing the learning experience. Now, when we talk about technology, it is not supposed to be so fast or so complicated that our kids don't understand it. The idea of technology is to help the kid, not to make him more frustrated and worried. So the lessons have to be simpler, engaging, targeted, and with the help of immersive technologies. What is immersive? In which we actually go inside that concept. It surrounds us from all sides. You would have seen virtual reality, kids wearing glasses on their faces with a machine attached to it. So they feel as if they are in a jungle. So if you're talking about the jungles of Africa, you could literally make them go inside the jungle of Africa through that VR app, which is a part of your tool. So it makes the experience very, very enriched. Second is we must ensure improved accessibility for all learners, which it has. So slow learner, fast learner, intelligent, not so intelligent, or dumb, it should be accessible by all. And it should be adaptable to the needs of each one of them. And ultimately, the idea is to make the learning process more rich through engagement so that it enhances retention. So when it is personalized in approach, the kid makes a deeper connect with the material and he understands it better. He's able to comprehend it, learn it, retain it, and motivate it for the next session or the next class. So this is what we are trying to talk about as in terms of benefits of AI in the classroom. Some of the challenges part I would like to address as well, or the limitations of AI. First and the foremost is the idea of data privacy, which of course is inherent with any technological platform. So it's a necessary evil which we have to tolerate, but we can still mitigate the risks. So we are dealing with students here, and they could be vulnerable at all age brackets across childhood, teens, early adult, or even late adults. So we have to be sure enough to have structures in place to safeguard that sensitive information so that what is needed only is known to the machine. What is not needed should not be known to the machine because of issues of leakage. Second is the idea of ethical use of AI. When we talk about these algorithms in machine learning and programming, these machines, these algorithms are smart enough to learn on their own. So sometimes start to act smarter than what is desired of them. So this machine or this program now knows that this kid likes games as a means to learn. And now he uses the games to take his lessons. And then the machine allows gaming apps to advertise through its platform, which of course could be a distraction to the student, also a lurement to the student, which could not be so healthy, ethical, and not so good for his concentration. Other aspect of ethical implication could be the use of AI by the student himself or herself. A lot of people say it's killing creativity, it's killing the innovativeness, the nuances of new thinking. So the ethics part and the dilemma of ethical implications will always be there for any kind of a technology. Third challenge is that still a lot of people till date, a lot of institutions might show resistance to technology integration. It could mean that schools and colleges do not want to integrate because they think that the conventional way was still better. They might think that students might become smarter than us, or we may lose our jobs due to machines. So there could be a plethora of reasons because of which we show resistance. So that is one challenge in trying to adopt AI across institutions. So we don't have to confront the hurdles. We have to, find a way around. We cannot make it 100% ethical, but we can try to mitigate most kinds of risks associated with unethical use of AI. Now, some of the future trends in AI education, which we could see from the slide, is there is going to be more and more emergence of technological integrations, newer languages, newer programs, newer softwares, and newer ways to think about students' problems. And the machine would be used to teach a student in which he learns the best, either through an audio, through a story, through a video, through a photograph, through a picture, or by immersive technologies. So we are going to see, upsurge in these technological platforms. AI and the VR synergy is going to exist for sure. It allows for, getting into that subject, going into the machine of a car, the engine of a car, to look from within, how does that engine look and feel like, in a way so that it enhances experiential learning part of the student. And they're able to explore more facets of the subject. Third important direction is these platforms are going to help lifelong learning learners. People who are learning for life at each level of their career, like doctors, engineers, teachers, lawyers, whosoever it may be. Today, learning has become almost imperative at each stage. So today we have continuous skill development programs, continuing medical education, continuing PDP classes, reskilling platforms, so on and so forth. So with each stage of one's career, a new program, a new platform might be available. Now, what is going to be the role of educators in an AI enhanced environment? This is quite critical for us to know. Are we going to let AI take over us? Are we going to take over AI? Or are we going to have a collaborative approach? So now we have a transition. We earlier were the sole knowledge providers in the classroom. We thought that students depended on us, and then the books which we taught in the class and the notes which we had in the class, but not anymore. Today, the learners have the tools to learn on their own. But still, they will come to you for certain concepts, for certain examples, which could be a blessing for the system, using tools with the help of a teacher. So we would recommend a collaborative approach. We would see a lot of professional development adaptations. Who knew robotic surgery would come down to this level? Today you can operate any person sitting anywhere on earth with the robot's arms, with the help of a screen and the network connectivity, and the operation can be successfully completed. So earlier we thought that a surgeon has to be there in front of the patient on the table, right, cutting apart the patient's body, but not anymore. We have small two button holes. The cameras goes inside the body and the arms go, and then the arms means the tools in the arms go, and then the operation is done. So lots of AI techniques would be coming for continuous skill development and education. And the way ahead would for sure be the idea of collaboration with AI tools. So we must be able to work along with AI tools, not fight with them. The idea is to enhance the learning experience of the student. We have to make it easier and more enriching for him. So when you talk about the real world applications of AI, we have lots of successful examples from leading institutions who have adopted technologies, universities, schools, training institutions, so on and so forth. And the main focus is the idea of personalization in education so that the learning outcomes can be improved. The use of AI makes it more easy for us to measure the outcomes. So we have got quantifiable results from the use of these apps, which have given evidence in favor of its advantages. That students have better engagement levels, they have increased retention rates, and they have performed better than before. But the main task for us to take it further would be to know what are the best practices in AI application. And for that, we have to study the previous examples of schools and colleges and whatever strategies they have adopted to integrate AI into the system so that it's a win-win for the entire stakeholder community, students, learners, institutions, parents, society at large. So some of the ways in which we can do it is first is that we have intelligent learning management systems, which we have in every college, I think. Every college has now developed their own app, their own platform to help students learn. This is one way to benefit the student community. So it's a lot of content is personalized. The tutoring is quite focused, and the outcome is better. We have intelligent tutoring machines, which act like real-time tutors in the class. Like we have instructors for tutorials, and they engage with the student communities. They tailor make situations for them, then help them to solve it, give immediate feedback, so on and so forth. And we have lots of AI-driven assessment tools, which help us in grading of students, assessment of their work, while at the same time, they also help us to allow for a personalized feedback and help us monitor the progress of the student. So just coming up to the last part of the discussion, the way ahead in terms of policy and regulatory considerations, because it is going to be sensitive to depend purely on AI, critical as well. So some of the framework for responsible use of AI in education, I would suggest would be first is the idea of how to govern the use of AI. As you know, as you could say, AI technologies. Just hold on for a minute. I
Sir,
think
can
I
we proceed for the questions now?
no. I just hold on. It's
Okay,
still
sir.
going
Okay.
on. Yeah. I just think. Uh, where is the presentation? I cannot see here. Is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it should. Yeah. Is it visible now, sir? Yeah. Okay.
Can you please
So
repeat? You're not
yeah,
on.
is it visible to the audience? The screen is visible.
Yes, sir. The page of the PPT is visible to the audience. Paul. Policy and
Okay.
regulatory
Thank
control.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So the first one is this governance of rules and regulations for AI utilization so that it is equitable, fair, transparent. Second is ensuring inclusivity and equity for all categories of people, regardless of background, their skill, their ability, their knowledge. And third is the framework has to be very, very responsibly developed. So there is acute transparency between all the stakeholders. Everybody has a level of trust in each other. Students, educators, parents, institution. So some of the examples which we have given, you could see some of these which we would have used or we would have heard quite often, like Dreambox and Smart Sparrow for personalization of learning, Gradescope for grading, EduAid AI for creation of content, IBM Watson quite commonly used for tutoring, Duolingo for language practice, Coursera Quizlet for instant quizzes. There is a tool called as Quizzes for allowing teachers to quiz students as a method of assessment, creates instant quizzes. So what actually it is or what actually it does is that when you talk about a virtual assistant or a chatbot, you are actually answering student queries and managing communication. As simple as that. When you're talking about predictive analytics, it is analyzing student data to know those who need support more than others and improve the outcome. You talk about curriculum development, the AI helps you design and adapt to the curricula for better engagement. And you talk about VR, it creates an immersive learning environment. So each element, each component, and the list is quite long, has a role to play, has a functionality attached to it. So if the backend could be sensitive enough to take note of this, we could have a very enriching, user-friendly, and enhanced platform to ultimately achieve the objective to which you are going, making the learning experience or the process enriched, healthy, and fast. I think that's it from my side. Thank you so much for all the time and patience you have shown as an audience. I appreciate that. We are now open to questions.
What a thought-provoking session, sir. We do have some questions from the audience, so I would like to read them from the chat. The first question is from Ms. Sakshi. She is saying that I agree that using AI and data analysis in education enhances learning outcome. In this context, which AI-based data analysis practice would you recommend for the classroom use?
Which AI-based data analysis practice would I recommend for the classroom use?
Yes, sir.
She's talking about the practice, not the platform.
Yes, sir.
I would say a more balanced approach of using an equal mixture of physical instruction with the AI tool and getting instant feedback. So I would rate it to be 50-50, manual plus AI, and followed with instant feedback.
Sure, sir. And then next question we would be having from Mr. Chaitanya Bahadur. The question seeks, what does make an AI company?
What does?
What does make an AI company? I think he wants to know how do we set up an AI company or what it is to be mean as an AI company.
I think the discussion was quite explicit about that. AI is not only the front part which we are trying to see as a concept per se. It's a complete set of backend development resources, tools, along with certain programming languages, with the functionality of reasoning and logic. To some people, it would be more familiar, the idea of the word flowchart. very basic concept. And then you deliver something which is useful for the end user. That is what AI company is.
Thank you, sir. Sure. And the next question we are having from Miss Priyanka Mavi, and she's asking that there are studies which has proved that too much usage on dependency on AI reduces heuristic problem solving abilities of the stakeholders of education. As a prudent educator, how can we control this?
A very interesting question. We cannot control this. I'm sorry to say that. My prediction is that we'll go back to the Stone Age. AI would have killed us all, and we'll go back to the Stone Age, begin afresh, to be as blatant as I could be.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you.
So it's something of a kind of a necessary evil which has taken us all over, and we cannot stop this now. We have started something which is unstoppable.
Sure, sir. Very right, sir. And the next question we are having from Miss Bhaswati Das, and she is asking that reduce human interaction, reduce socio-economic growth. AI is definitely contributing to this. What step, in your opinion, should we take to draw a line between excess usage and a moderate usage?
The first thing I would do is that I would make this FDP physical, seeing you face to face.
Sure, sir.
Isn't it reducing our physical interaction?
Exactly, sir.
We have not seen each other. We don't know each other properly. The eye contact is missing. But it's necessary because we are sitting pan India, right?
Right, sir. Sure.
So we cannot afford a physical setup right away. So there
Very
are certain situations which need this kind of a solution. We cannot help about that. But of course, where things are more in our control, more routine, that we can check.
sure, sir. Sure. Very right, sir. And the next question we
You know,
are
you know,
having.
just on a lighter note, I will tell you, I also look after the hostels at my university. So
Yes,
we
sir.
had this interview for a hostel room allotment, and current students were sitting in their hostel rooms and giving the hostel interview online in the administrative block. So they said we thought technology can be used anywhere. I said it's not meant to be used on the campus only. You are hardly 200 meters away. You could have come to the chamber of the interview and given the interview physically. So the moment they see online, offline, both options available, they prefer the online options. So it's
Absolutely.
also quite dependent on us. What method do we want to use?
Yes, sir. May I move to the next question, sir?
Yeah, please.
The next question is, how does the AI address the slow diminishing level of learning adaptability of undergraduate student, especially in the field of hotel management?
I was just looking at this question. Somehow it was a coincidence. It was in front of my eyes. Today I had 3, 4 students coming to my department. And because of this ease of access to knowledge, they've got certain now adaptability problems. They don't want to do a training in a big 5-star hotel because they cannot catch an early morning train or a bus. So sometimes we have made their lives a bit more comfortable. A notch down would help them further. Let them face the real world and sometimes let them study in the real classroom. That is what is going to make their learning more realistic.
Very true. So the another question is that how can educators balance the use of AI tool without reducing students' critical and heuristic problem solving skills?
Depends on whether first the educator first himself wants to balance his use. Because a lot
Yes.
of educators are depending heavily on AI too. So are we intended to balance our use? Then only we can balance the use in the classroom, and
Sure,
then
sir.
we can advise others.
Right, sir. So with this, I would like to say thank you, sir, for such a powerful
Thank
and
you so much.
insightful session. Your explanation of artificial intelligence and its role in education, from enhancing teaching learning possesses and personalized learning to an assessment, research, and academic administration, has given us a clear and comprehensive understanding of this rapidly evolving domain. You have thoughtfully connected technology innovation with pedagogical purpose, inspiring us as an educator to integrate AI responsibility and effectively in our academic practices. Now, I would like to call Ms. Charanpreet Kaur, Associate Professor, DBIT, to extend the vote of thanks to Professor Shehnawaz Abdeen.
Thank you so much, Rohit sir. I
Thank
give you thanks, O Lord, with my whole heart. Before the hearts, I sing your praise. I bow down towards your holy temple and give thanks to your name for your steadfast love and your faithfulness. Respected dignitaries, esteemed resource persons, faculty members, and dear participants. I, Charanpreet Kaur, Program Coordinator, MCA Department, deem it a great privilege to represent DBIT as I stand here today to thank all whose contributions and efforts have made this faculty development program a reality. We extend our heartfelt appreciation to the resource persons of today, Professor Subodh Kesharwani, Chief Vigilance Officer, IGNOU, and Professor, School of Management Studies, IGNOU. Professor Mohammad Shahnawaz Abdeen, Professor Jamia Hamdard, whose thought provoking sessions, practical demonstrations, and real world examples have helped us better understand the transformative role of artificial intelligence in education. Their expertise has not only enhanced our knowledge, but also motivated us to rethink and redesign our teaching learning methodologies. We are really grateful to Reverend Professor Sardan M. George, Chairman DBIT, for his constant support and motivational remarks. Our institute is still being driven towards excellence by his vision and director. We are thankful to Father Biju and the management of Don Bosco Institute of Technology for constantly supporting and guiding us on the best possible way. We would especially want to express our greatest thank you to Director Professor Vikas Rao Wadi, whose vision and commitment have greatly influenced the Institute. Your observations have shed light on our next steps ahead. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated faculty staff headed by Professor Shalu Tandon, Vice Principal, who know their job and are result oriented. We also appreciate the dedicated efforts of our conveners, co-conveners, organizing committee for their meticulous planning that ensured the smooth and successful conduct of day one of the FDP. We are thankful to Dr. Sanjay Kumar Singh, our registrar, Dr. Asjad Usmani, HOD Management, Dr. P.K. Nayak, HOD Commerce, Dr. Amandeep Singh Arora, HOD IT, and my program coordinator, MBA, Dr. Santosh Kumar Singh. At last, special thanks to our wonderful anchors, Dr. Ruchi Sahani, Mr. Rohit, and Ms. Anurupa Ganguly, and the entire team of FDP. Thanks everyone who has participated and attended and contributed to this event. Your presence and active engagement have made this day a resounding success. Lastly, we acknowledge the efforts of the technical team and support staff for their seamless coordination and timely assistance throughout the day. We look forward to another enriching learning experience in the upcoming sessions. Thank you all. We wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
I would request the participants to please turn on their camera for the photo for this session. I would like to request the participant to please turn on their cameras for the photograph for this session. With this, as we conclude the first session for the day, for our 5-day FDP on enhancing teachers with AI tools and innovative approaches for effective teaching learning. We thank all participants for the enthusiastic engagement and thoughtful reactions. I would like to display some information that for the tomorrow's session, as the rules described earlier in the morning, I request all to join at least 15 minutes prior when the session starts. Apart from that, the joining of the next day session would be same with this the provided current link. So with this, thank you and have a good day, good evening to all.